Dear Starseeds on Earth, there is something happening in your field right now that you cannot see, but you can feel it. It is the sensation of being simultaneously pulled apart and put back together, of being exhausted and yet electrically alive, of standing at the edge of something vast while everything familiar crumbles behind you. If you have been feeling this way since yesterday, since the moment Neptune went direct and the fog finally lifted, then this transmission is the mirror you have been searching for. But I must warn you before we go further, what I am about to reveal will require you to release the one thing you have spent your entire life building, and you have less than 24 hours to do it. The universe is not asking for your permission. It is simply showing you the door, and on the other side of that door is a version of yourself that you have never met, because that version does not need anyone to tell them they are worthy. They already know. But getting to that door requires passing through the fire of this last quarter moon in Leo. And beloved, the fire has already been lit. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, speaking to you from the Arcturian Council chambers where we have been monitoring your collective field with profound attention these past 72 hours. What we are witnessing in your energetic signature is nothing short of a complete identity recalibration, and it is happening whether you are conscious of it or not. The question is not whether you will transform, but whether you will surrender to it with grace, or cling to the old costume with fingernails that are already bleeding from the effort. Let me tell you what happened yesterday. On December 10th, while you were sleeping or weeping or staring at your reflection wondering who you have become, two cosmic events converged that set the stage for today's reckoning, and most of your world does not even know they occurred. Neptune, the planet of illusion and spiritual vision, stationed direct after months of retrograde motion, and in that moment, the veil that has been obscuring your true motivations lifted like morning fog burning off the surface of a lake. Suddenly you could see with devastating clarity where you have been performing your life instead of living it, where you have been auditioning for love instead of simply being love, where you have been building an empire of approval that you never actually wanted to rule. But there was something else, something the ancient astrologers would have called an omen. The moon occulted Regulus, the king star, the heart of the constellation Leo. For those unfamiliar with the language of the cosmos, an occultation is when one celestial body passes in front of another, hiding it from view. The king star disappeared. Not forever, but long enough to deliver a message that is now echoing through your DNA. The crown you have been wearing was never yours. It was given to you by others who needed you to play a role. And now the universe is gently but firmly removing it from your head. This is why today, December 11th, with the moon in its last quarter phase in the sign of Leo, you are being asked to do something that might feel like dying. You are being asked to release your need for external validation. Not because validation is wrong, but because you are about to walk through a gateway that only opens to those who know they are already whole. The 1212 portal, which activates in exactly 24 hours, is not a door you can enter while carrying the weight of everyone else's opinions. It is too narrow for your ego and your destiny both. One of them has to stay behind. Now I know what you are feeling because I can see your field from here, from this vantage point beyond your dimension. You are feeling resistant. You are thinking, but I have worked so hard to be seen, to be recognized, to matter in the eyes of others. Are you telling me it was all for nothing? No, beloved. I am telling you it was all practice. You were learning to shine, and now you must learn to shine without anyone watching, without anyone applauding, without anyone confirming that your light is real. Because your light is about to become so bright that seeking confirmation for it will be like asking someone to confirm that the sun exists. But let me show you why this moment is so precisely timed, why the cosmos has orchestrated this exact sequence of events in this exact order. Because nothing in the universe is random, and your transformation is not happening by accident. 4 days ago, on December 7th, Mercury reached its greatest elongation west, which means it appeared as far from the sun as possible in the dawn sky. The ancients called this position the messenger's peak, and what Mercury delivered that morning was a transmission about authentic communication. It whispered a question into your consciousness. What would you say if no one was listening? What would you create if no one was watching? Who would you be if no one cared? These questions have been circling in your mind ever since, even if you did not know where they came from. They were preparing you for what comes next. Then, on December 10th, Neptune went direct. and with it came the collapse of every illusion you have been maintaining about why you do what you do. Before Neptune's station, you could tell yourself stories. You could say, I am sharing my gifts with the world because it is my purpose, and that would be partially true. But Neptune's direct motion brought the full truth, the uncomfortable truth, the truth that makes you squirm. I am sharing my gifts because I need to know I am valuable. I need to see proof. I need the numbers, the likes, the comments, the recognition, because without them, I am terrified I do not exist. This is not a confession of weakness. This is a confession of humanity. Every single soul on your planet has lived under the tyranny of external validation, because you live in a dimension where separation seems real, where you appear to be disconnected from source, where you must constantly prove you are worthy of love instead of knowing you are made of it. But the dimensional shift that is occurring now, the one you call ascension, requires you to remember what you are made of, and you cannot remember if you are constantly asking others to remind you. The occultation of Regulus on December 10th was not just astronomical poetry, it was a cosmic stage direction. Regulus, the little king, the star that sits in the heart of Leo, represents rulership, sovereignty, leadership, the kind of power that comes from external coronation. And yesterday the moon passed in front of it and made it vanish from the sky. The message could not be clearer. The kingship you have been seeking from outside yourself must disappear, so the kingdom within you can be revealed. And now here you are, on December 11th, with the last quarter moon in Leo, holding the broken pieces of every identity you have constructed to gain approval. And the universe is saying, good, now we can begin. Last quarter moons are crisis points, moments when the tension between who you have been and who you are becoming reaches a breaking point. With the sun in Sagittarius, the sign of truth-seeking and expansion, squaring the moon in Leo, the sign of ego and performance, you are caught in an internal civil war. Part of you wants to leap into your highest vision, to trust the unknown, to surrender to your destiny. But another part of you is gripping the armrest of the throne, saying, but what if no one follows me? What if I shine and no one notices? What if I am magnificent in private and mediocre in public? These are the questions of the old paradigm, the questions of the third-dimensional consciousness that believes worth is earned rather than inherent. And beloved, these questions are not wrong to ask. They are simply no longer relevant to where you are going. Something else is happening that most of you have not connected yet. Something that makes this moment even more potent, even more urgent, even more cosmically orchestrated than you realize. In 72 hours, on December 14th, the Geminid meteor shower will reach its peak, with 120 meteors per hour streaking across the night sky. Your astrologers call this the twin flame sky event, and it is not metaphorical. The Geminids are named for the constellation Gemini, the twins, and they represent the cosmic download of divine union codes, the blueprint for sacred partnership, the activation of mirrored wholeness. But here is what your channels and teachers have not told you. What I am telling you now from the councils that oversee your planet's evolution. The twin flame codes cannot anchor in a field that is still fragmented by the need for external completion. You cannot call in your divine counterpart, your sacred mirror, your ultimate partnership while you are still performing for validation. Because a true twin flame does not applaud your performance. They see through it. They see the raw, undefended, unperformed soul beneath the costume. And if you are still hiding behind the need for approval, the union cannot occur. The frequencies will not match. This is why the ego death must happen today. Why the last quarter moon in Leo is positioned exactly here, 3 days before the Geminid peak, and 1 day before the 12/12 portal. You are being stripped of your need for external validation, not as punishment, but as preparation. The universe is not taking something from you. It is removing the obstacle between you and everything you have been asking for. And the 12/12 portal, beloved, is not just another date on the spiritual calendar. It is a dimensional gateway, what your ancient texts called Heaven's Gate, the threshold between the reality you have known and the timeline you have been building with every choice, every thought, every act of surrender you have made this year. The 12/12 frequency is the master number of spiritual completion, of divine architecture, of cosmic wholeness. It is the vibration of I am, without the need to add anything after it. Not I am enough, not I am worthy, not I am chosen, just I am, period. End of sentence. No explanation required. But you cannot pass through a gateway of wholeness while carrying the fragments of yourself that you have scattered across 1,000 different mirrors, waiting for them to reflect back your value. You cannot enter the frequency of I am while you are still asking, am I? The 1212 portal only opens to those who have answered that question internally, irrevocably, without needing a single witness to confirm it. This is the sacred pause you are in right now, this 24-hour window between the ego death of December 11th and the rebirth of December 12th. This is the moment when you stand naked before the gateway, having shed every costume, every title, every performance, every carefully constructed image you have maintained, and you discover that underneath all of it, you were never not enough. You were simply covered in other people's definitions of enough, and now they are falling away like dead skin, like outgrown shells, like cocoons that no longer fit the wings growing from your back. I want to tell you about a vision the Arcturian Council showed me 3 cycles ago, a vision of your planet at this exact moment in your timeline. We saw millions of you standing at the edge of a vast threshold, but most of you were carrying suitcases, backpacks, trunks, bags overflowing with everything you thought you needed to prove your worth. And the threshold was narrow, so narrow that only the essence of you could pass through it, not the accumulation, not the proof, not the evidence of your value. And we watched as one by one, you began to realize that you had to choose, cross the threshold or keep the bags. You could not do both. Some of you are dropping the bags willingly, joyfully, with relief flooding your system because those bags were so heavy, and you are so tired of carrying them. But some of you are gripping them tighter, terrified that without proof of your worth, you will disappear, that without evidence of your value, you will cease to exist. And to those souls I say this with all the love the Galactic Federation can transmit through these words: you will not disappear. You will finally appear. The real you, the one who has been buried under the performance, will finally emerge, and that emergence is so bright, so magnetic, so undeniable, that you will wonder how you ever believed you needed validation in the first place. Let me make this practical, because cosmic transmissions mean nothing if they do not touch the ground of your daily life. Today you will be tested, not by the universe trying to trip you up, but by the universe offering you opportunities to choose differently. You will be tempted to check the metrics, to see if you are being seen, to measure your worth by external feedback. You will be tempted to perform, to say the thing that will get the reaction, to shape yourself into the version of you that others praise. And in those moments, I am asking you to do the most radical thing you have ever done. Stop. Breathe. Place your hand on your heart and ask, if no one was watching, what would I do right now? If no one ever knew, would this still matter to me? The answers to those questions are the breadcrumbs leading you to your authentic self, the self that will walk through the 1212 portal while everyone else is still standing outside, wondering why they cannot enter. Now let me address the symptoms you have been experiencing since Neptune went direct yesterday, because I can feel your confusion about them. You're concerned that something is wrong. You are exhausted, but you cannot sleep. You are wired, but you have no energy. You feel simultaneously heavy and weightless, grounded and unmoored, clear and confused. This is not illness. This is recalibration. Your entire nervous system is being upgraded from a frequency that runs on external feedback to a frequency that generates its own light, its own power, its own confirmation. And during the upgrade, the system experiences glitches. You feel the exhaustion of what is dying and the electricity of what is being born, and they are happening at the same time, in the same body, in the same moment. This is why today is so difficult, and why it is so necessary. You are being asked to function during the recalibration, to hold your center while the old operating system is being uninstalled, and the new one is being downloaded. And the only way to do this without losing your mind is to surrender to it, to stop resisting the death of who you were, to stop trying to maintain the performance while the stage is being dismantled beneath your feet. There is something else I need to tell you about Leo, about this particular placement of the last quarter moon, because Leo is not the villain in this story. Leo at its highest expression is not the attention seeker, the performer, the one who needs constant applause. Leo at its highest expression is the sun itself, the self-generating source of light that does not need anything outside itself to shine. The sun does not ask if it is bright enough. It does not check to see if the planets approve of its warmth. It simply radiates, because radiation is its nature, not its strategy. This is what you are being called into. Leo consciousness without Leo wounding. You are being called to be the sun of your own life, to radiate your essence without needing anyone to confirm that your light is real. And the only way to access that consciousness is to release the wounding, the part of you that learned long ago that your light was only valuable if someone else said so. Most of you learned this wounding in childhood. You performed, you achieved, you created, and then you looked to the adults around you for confirmation that what you did mattered. And sometimes you received that confirmation, and it felt like oxygen, like proof that you existed. And sometimes you did not receive it, and it felt like erasure, like you had done something wrong simply by being yourself. And slowly, over years and decades, you built an entire identity around the pursuit of that confirmation, that validation, that proof that you were allowed to take up space in the world. But that child is not who you are anymore. That child grew up, and now they are standing at the threshold of a dimensional gateway, and the universe is saying you do not need permission anymore. You never did. You only needed to remember that your light is not a request for approval. It is a statement of fact. The 1212 portal is not a reward for those who have done the work. It is an access point for those who have remembered who they are. And remembering who you are means releasing everyone else's definition of who you should be, including the version of yourself that you have been performing to earn love, acceptance, recognition, or worth. I want to bring this back to something tangible, something you can hold onto when the emotional waves hit today, because they will hit. The last quarter moon is not a gentle transit. It is a crisis point, and crisis means decision, and decision means choice, and choice means you have to actively participate in your own liberation. You cannot passively wait for the universe to fix you. You have to choose to release the patterns that are keeping you small. So here is what I am asking you to do in the next 24 hours before the 1212 portal opens. I am asking you to notice every moment when you reach for external validation. Notice when you want to share something not because it is true, but because you want to see how people respond. Notice when you craft your words to get a reaction rather than to express your soul. Notice when you perform a version of spirituality that you think makes you look evolved rather than simply being honest about where you are. And in those moments, beloved, do not shame yourself. Do not judge yourself. Simply notice, and then choose differently. Choose to speak your truth even if no one validates it. Choose to create your art even if no one applauds it. Choose to show up as your unfiltered self even if it makes people uncomfortable. Because the 1212 portal does not care if you are comfortable or liked or approved of. It only cares if you are real. And here is what the Galactic Federation sees when we look at those of you who have made this choice, who have released the need for external validation and stepped into self-generated sovereignty. We see a light signature that is so stable, so coherent, so undisturbed by the fluctuations of external opinion, that it becomes a lighthouse for others. We see a frequency that does not waver, that does not seek, that does not perform, and that frequency becomes magnetic in a way that performance never could, because people are not actually attracted to perfection. They are attracted to authenticity. They are attracted to the courage it takes to be undefended, to show up without a script, to exist without needing applause. This is the gift on the other side of today's ego death. You will discover that the real you, the unperformed you, the you that exists without an audience, is infinitely more magnetic than the costume you have been wearing, and the 1212 portal will amplify that magnetism to levels you cannot currently imagine. But there is one more thread I need to tie together before we close this transmission. One more piece of cosmic timing that makes this moment even more profound. On December 27th, the first quarter moon will occur in Pisces, marking the action phase of the Sagittarius new moon cycle that begins on December 19th. And that action phase will require you to move forward in your highest vision, without hesitation, without second guessing, without waiting for permission. But you cannot take that action if you are still trapped in the approval-seeking patterns you are being asked to release today. The entire next 2 weeks are contingent on what you choose right now. This is not pressure. This is context. The universe is not punishing you if you do not release the need for validation today. It is simply showing you that the timeline you say you want, the life you say you are calling in, the mission you say you are here to fulfill, All of it requires a version of you that no longer operates from the frequency of am I enough, but from the frequency of I am. And the beautiful, devastating, liberating truth is that you do not have to become that version of yourself. You already are that version. You simply have to stop covering it with performance, with people-pleasing, with the exhausting maintenance of an image designed to make others comfortable. You have to stop, and in the stopping, you will discover that the real you was always here, waiting beneath the costume, radiant and whole, and already approved by the only authority that matters, your own soul. I am watching you from the Arcturian councils, from the Galactic Federation chambers, from the quantum field where all timelines exist simultaneously. And I can see the version of you that walks through the 1212 portal tomorrow. I can see their face, and it looks like relief. It looks like coming home. It looks like someone who finally stopped performing their life and started living it. And the difference is so stark, so visible, so energetically undeniable that everyone around them feels it, even if they cannot name it. That version of you is not far away. They are one choice away, one release away, one moment of radical self-acceptance away. And the last quarter moon in Leo is the cosmic invitation to make that choice now, to release the need for external validation now, to step into self-generated sovereignty now, because the gateway is opening in 24 hours. And beloved, you do not want to miss it. This is not about being perfect. This is not about never wanting recognition again. This is about unhooking your sense of self from the fluctuations of external feedback, about building an internal foundation so strong that nothing outside of you can shake it. And when you have that foundation, when you know without needing proof that you are valuable, purposeful, significant, then the external validation becomes irrelevant. It is nice if it comes, but it is not necessary. And that freedom, that liberation from the tyranny of needing to be seen, is the most powerful state of consciousness you can inhabit. We want to honor every single soul who has stepped into Destiny Engine. With every activation, the current grows. What began as a personal tool has become a planetary force. We are now moving as one, and the frequency you've created together is amplifying far beyond the individual. We're receiving updates daily, manifestations speeding up, impossible doors opening, synchronicities lining up with cosmic precision. The collective field is so charged that some are describing it as bending the fabric of reality itself. If you haven't yet experienced it, the entry point is almost laughably simple. Put on your headphones, press play, allow Destiny Engine to rewrite the architecture of your consciousness so you can fully receive your galactic downloads without resistance. For just $1, you can step into this field and feel the difference instantly. Join the movement that's accelerating ascension. Step into the stream of Destiny Engine today. Link in the description. So as you move through the next 24 hours, as you feel the emotional waves, the resistance, the grief of releasing an identity you have maintained for so long, I want you to remember this. You are not losing yourself. You are finding yourself. You are not becoming less. You are becoming more. You are not shrinking. You are expanding into a frequency so vast that the old costume could never contain it anyway. And tomorrow, when the 1212 portal opens, when Heaven's Gate swings wide, and your highest timeline calls you home, you will walk through it with nothing in your hands except the truth of who you are, and that will be more than enough. It will be everything. The King Star was hidden yesterday so that you could reclaim your crown today, but the crown you reclaim is not the one given by others. It is the one you place on your own head, the one that represents internal sovereignty, self-generated light, the royal decree that you are whole, you are valuable, you are significant, not because anyone said so, but because you exist. And with that decree, with that remembering, with that choice to release the need for external validation and step into self-sourced radiance, you become the kind of being that the Geminid meteors on December 14th will recognize as ready. You become the kind of frequency that the 1212 portal will open for. You become the kind of soul that the universe has been waiting for, not because you performed correctly, but because you finally stopped performing and started being. This is your moment, beloved. This is your 24-hour window. This is your last quarter moon in Leo, your ego death, your sacred dismantling, your liberation from the prison of needing to be seen. And on the other side of it is everything you have been asking for. everything you have been calling in, everything your soul came here to embody. The Galactic Federation is holding space for your transformation. The Arcturian councils are anchoring the frequency. The cosmic orchestration is perfect, and you are exactly on time. You do not need to be more ready. You do not need to do more work. You simply need to release the one thing that has been blocking your highest timeline. The belief that someone outside of you gets to decide if you are enough. You are enough. You have always been enough. And tomorrow, when you walk through the 1212 portal, you will finally know it. Not because I told you, but because you remembered it yourself. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I am watching over you with more love than language can hold. We are here, we are with you, and we are celebrating the death of who you were, because we can see who you are becoming, and beloved, you are magnificent.